Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Shivani and I'm a gouache artist and art educator based in the sunny city of Chennai in the south of India. If you've been tuning into my channel for a while now, if you've been watching any of my videos or following me on Instagram, you would know that birds are one of my favorite subjects to draw and to paint. In fact, I just recently released my first ever art collection called The Rain Tree, and birds were the main subject in the entire collection. You can check out the collection via the link in my description if you're interested in that. In today's video, I thought I'd just show you a real-time process video of me sketching about 5 different species of birds in my sketchbook. I've been doing this a lot lately and it's just great practice exercise to really start understanding the subject of birds better. I think repetition is the one thing that's helped me the most when it comes to improving with my sketching of birds. The more you look at different species and start sketching them, the more familiar you'll get with the subject as a whole. You'll start noticing that different species of birds have different kinds of bills, they have different body shapes, they have different ways in which their plumage looks, and you'll slowly start identifying that a lot better. Some of these differences are obvious, but once you start sketching them is when you really start observing the nuanced details in different species, and you're able to bring that into your sketch and depict that species really well. To create the sketches that you're seeing me work on in this video, I pulled up a lot of reference images through Instagram. So on Instagram, I basically follow a lot of accounts who post really beautiful pictures of birds. These are just great references for me to understand how different species look, also look at different poses of birds and use those as references for quick sketches like these. All of these sketches are being done in under 5 minutes per bird. So these are just for practice and these are not for commercial work. So when I'm taking references through photographers that I find on Instagram, for example, I make sure that I'm not using their pictures as is for my references if I'm doing commercial work. I then try to tweak them and make them my own. But for practice sketches in your sketchbook, it's completely fine to pull up reference images. You could check Pinterest, you could check Instagram, and these are great sources. So on Instagram, I follow a lot of different accounts who post bird pictures. And when I find a picture or a species that I find really interesting, I usually save it into a folder that I call birds. So that's just one place where when I'm ready to sketch, I can always just open up that folder on my Instagram saved tab, and it's just a good collection of images. So based on what I'm feeling like, I can look through it and decide what bird I feel like sketching or painting on a particular day. And that's a great way for you to also collect a bunch of reference images for your own sketches. You can do this on Pinterest as well. You can just create a board and save images there, which you can pull up anytime that you're ready to sketch. Because I'm so passionate about birds and painting birds, I recently created and released a new Skillshare class which is all about painting and sketching birds. But I'll tell you a little more about that in a bit. For now, let's continue sketching. I've been sketching and painting birds for over 3 years now, so I do have a lot of experience in the subject. And that's why I also thought of creating something that would be helpful to everybody else who is interested in the subject of birds. It did take me a lot of trials and a lot of failures to reach a point where I'm really confident with this subject. So, over the last few months, I worked on creating a really nice comprehensive Skillshare course on sketching and painting birds, and I'm so happy to tell you that the class is now live on Skillshare. The link to the class is in the description, but just to tell you a little bit about what you can expect in the class. Like I said, I have been sketching and painting birds for over 3 years, and gouache is my favorite medium to work with. So in this class, I'm going to be using gouache as my main medium, but of course you can follow along using any other medium that you like working with, like acrylic paints, for example. I'll be taking you through all the basics of sketching to start off with, because in case you're a complete beginner, I don't want you to feel intimidated by it. So we'll start with the different elements of art, including lines, shapes and forms, color, texture, and space. So all of these are the main elements of art that influence your sketches and influence your compositions. By getting a nice foundational understanding of these things, you'll be able to become much better as an artist. So we'll be going through all of those things and then applying them in the context of birds. I'll be teaching you how to look at any object around you and break it down into its basic shapes so that you're able to sketch it very easily. And this applies, like I said, to every object, not just birds. It can be absolutely anything that you want to sketch, and this knowledge is going to be useful for you. Then we'll talk about the importance of texture, and I'll show you how you can bring textured brush strokes into your work, because again, in the context of birds, texture is something that I find really important, and it's a really nice way in which you can add interest into your paintings, especially when you're doing naturalist illustrations. Then I'll give you some quick pointers on color mixing, because color is one of my favorite topics to talk about. And then we'll talk about space and how that informs your compositions. In the end of this class, we're going to bring all of these learnings together, and I'm going to work with you on a final project in which we're going to paint a beautiful hummingbird. Again, we will start with sketching it, so we're going to understand how to break it down into simple shapes and then sketch the bird and finally paint the bird. And we're also going to have fun with it, use color pencils, add a little texture to it. And the goal of this entire class is not photorealism. That's not what we're aiming for, so I don't want you to feel intimidated by it. My point of creating this class was to teach you the basic foundations of naturalist illustrations so that you're able to create your own illustrations in your own style. They don't have to be 100% like your reference images. You can feel free to make them your own. And speaking of reference images, I'm also going to talk to you about the different ways in which you can find references and inspirations that will fuel your work. Overall, the course is going to be very interesting and a lot of fun, and you can click the link in the description to check it out. Also, if you use my link to sign up for Skillshare, which is the link in the description, you will get 1 month free if you're residing outside of India, and if you're somebody who resides within India, you will get 30% off your annual subscription. Both of those are great deals. I'm also going to be hosting a giveaway very soon. If you take up this class, you'll be eligible for the giveaway. I'll be announcing it on Skillshare and on my email newsletter. And the winner of that giveaway is going to get 1 free year of Skillshare. So it's a really nice prize up on offer. And of course, the class itself has loads of value packed into it. It's just 2 hours long, but it's got just everything that I have spent the last 3 years doing. I've tried to distill it down into a way that's simple, fun, easy to understand, and I'm very proud of what I've been able to create. So definitely go check that out, link in description, and I will see you next week with another video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.